right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another iteration of From the Couch. Been a couple weeks.
I know. It's been like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Long break. An unintended break. I know that you and I had chatted a little bit, trying to get one where I was in Greece and then in Italy as well. And wanted
Technical
to...
difficulties.
Yeah, a couple of difficulties there. But and then time constraints. You know, we had... Because we're with a group.
Hey, if I'm in Europe too, man, I don't want to. I'll be vacationing. The last thing I'm worried about is work. But
you know, it's funny. While I'm, so our first stop, real quick. First stop, we go to Athens. There's like 35, 36, 37 people that are with us. So a big group.
Large party.
And just an awesome trip. Holistically, I'll just put it that way. But our first stop is in Athens, trying to get acclimated with everything that's going on, and kind of some chat that we had back and forth via email and through text of hey, we're all set. We're gonna have everything perfect set up for our podcast. That way we don't miss an episode.
Yeah.
And so during that time, we go through Athens. Our next stop is Delphi, and that's where we're going to record from my end. And then obviously you're going to be here. Sorry about that. But as we're there, I'm I run back up to our room. Yeah. I'm using my phone as my internet provider.
As for a hotspot?
For my hotspot, okay. Yeah, exactly. And log in. Everything seems copacetic, and then for some reason, internet goes down here.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is for the whole building.
And the crazy thing is, like, I was in the Zoom call waiting for you to join, and I was like, all right, we're ready. Just
it's going to be perfect.
To join. Yeah.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it says, like, I start seeing my little Wi-Fi icon pending, and I'm like, wait, why is it pending like that?
That's funny.
I go ask one of our co-Coton.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is your internet working? He's like, yeah, I'm working fine. I'm like, refresh your page.
Right.
He's like, oh, no, it's not working. And I was like, okay, so it's not just me.
Well, it's funny. So I'm sitting with, I don't know, there's probably like 8 to 10 parents that I'm sitting with, kind of overlooking this valley at this hotel that we stayed at. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous, super beautiful area.
Where was this? This was
in Delphi.
In Delphi, okay.
Yep. And as I'm, sitting out there, we're having, a glass of wine and just kind of relaxing and reflecting on how busy Athens was, and but the beauty behind, Acropolis, and just how cool that city was. So we're kind of have this like reflective moment. But Delphi was a city that was just very, very chill for us. So a period that we just got an opportunity of just really relaxing. So we all sat down, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured some glasses for everybody. And I look down at my watch. I'm like, all right, I got to go. Like, where are you going? I was like, oh, I got a podcast I got to put on. Yeah. I'm like, you're doing that from here? I'm like, absolutely. Can't miss a beat. Well, we missed 3 beats. So
we apologize, loyal listeners.
Those that you are, waiting anxiously for the next episode. But yeah, so end up missing out on that podcast, and then we're like, all right, well, next week we're gonna knock it out. And next week, so our next few stops along the way from there was went from Delphi to Olympia, and then we hopped on a boat in Patras and took this boat 22 hours into Italy, and then like a 4-hour bus ride into Rome, which was the bus ride sounds horrible, but it was unbelievably beautiful. I mean, just a gorgeous view of land from
You stayed awake the whole 4 hours?
Absolutely. I stayed awake almost the entire time on that 22-hour boat ride.
Wow.
Well, a couple reasons on that. It was a transport boat, but also like a cruise ship.
That's why. So activities and stuff to do.
No, not at all. That's what's funny. Yeah, because you had all of these workers that were going from Greece to Italy, bringing package trucks and whatnot, and there really was zero entertainment on board. There was, some food that you could have.
So what did you do for 22 hours?
So that's the funny thing. So, we sat around and conversed, and we did a Bible study, and had just awesome conversation. Is probably the easiest way to say it. But I go into my room, and there are 4 bunks that are in there. So I'm sharing this room with 3 other people. Not my wife, not my daughter, who I went on the trip with. I know it sounds crazy. Fortunately, I knew them.
Yeah.
But the room it felt like 1,500 degrees.
Jeez,
So
that's
incredibly
not good.
hot.
Yeah.
And
Man, this sounds
imagine
like torture.
2 teenagers in there, and then 2 30, 40-year-old guys that are in the room
That was
in
your
hot.
room? Oh,
yes. So you got shoes off, and just imagine it smelled like feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't handle it anymore. I gotta get out of here. So I wake up on about an hour of sleep that I got in there, take a shower, and then sit up and I watch the sunrise over the water, and just absolutely gorgeous. So
That sounds beautiful.
kind of jump ahead, get back into Rome, and unbelievable city, incredibly filthy though.
Filthy?
Filthy. Everywhere that you looked was trash and bottles. Any crevice that you could see in a wall had trash inside it.
Wow.
Windows would be boarded up, or windows would have bars on them, and people would just throw their trash inside the bar between the window. And
So they had like abandoned properties, is what you're saying?
no, but I guess so. But like some people live there, and then you would see just like broken windows that would have tape on it.
Wow. Sounds like Baltimore.
It's interesting that you say that, because I said I feel like Baltimore is a cleaner city in the worst parts of Baltimore that I've seen.
Wow.
And I mean, there's some gorgeous parts of Baltimore too, but when it came to like a majority of Rome, that's what it seemed like. Everywhere that we walked was like that.
Trash.
Until you got to like the Colosseum,
The tourist attractions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So those were
pretty tight.
pretty clean. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. One thing I will say,
That's not good.
I walk into such an American. I walk into the Coliseum and I look around and I'm recording myself, and I think you know what I'm about to say, and I'm like, I yell out, "Are you not entertained?"
Are you not entertained?
And
Gladiator.
yeah, great movie. I watched that on the flight home too, by the way. But during that statement, I see like kind of all these heads like swivel around, and it felt like about 4 people out of the 10,000 that were in there knew what I was talking about. I got a good laugh out of it. My wife did, my daughter did, and they're like,
So they
"You're
let
crazy."
you walk around in the center of the arena?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So got some pretty neat pictures on that. You walk into where kind of the gladiators come in, and the back in the day they had this floor that would elevate them up to like the main area, and
they had you got to see that?
yeah, got to see all of it. Yeah, it was pretty
Wow.
cool. So we had a tour guide for that. Guy was awesome. So he got my joke.
I wonder if that thing is fully functional still.
They just fixed it. Yeah, they just
really?
fixed it. Yeah, and made
Wow.
it so it's functional. Yeah,
That's cool.
But so the tour guide, he gets my joke, or gets me saying like what I did. He didn't laugh.
He didn't laugh.
But anyways, I thought it was funny. But
He was like Americans.
he ends up referencing it a little later on, and he's like, you had referenced Gladiator a little while ago, and there's a lot of meaning behind are you not entertained? And I said, well, what's that mean? And he says, well, what ended up happening is that gladiators were there for longevity. What they wanted to do was they wanted to fight, but not necessarily kill the other guy. It was about getting the crowd to erupt and get excited about life, kind of like a WWE nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So he said when Maximus goes through and kills all those guys in a matter of just 40 seconds or whatever it is, and he yells out, "Are you not entertained?" There was some kind of truth to that of you're here for
entertainment,
and does this not entertain you?
Yeah.
So that was a super cool event. Yeah, we ended up staying in Rome for 3 days, and then
seems like a short time, but
yeah, I mean every stop was like 2 days, 1 day, 3 days.
Yeah, so I guess you got to see a lot of places. So that's cool.
Yep, it was super awesome. And then we go to Vatican City, probably the most beautiful place I had ever seen man build.
That's where like the Pope stays.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. Yeah, so we go to St. Peter's Basilica. Unbelievable. I mean, like everything that's associated to that place is just off the hook, just absolutely crazy. And during that that trip, we walked, I don't know, probably 10 miles, 12 miles that day inside.
Burned a lot of calories.
Yeah, tons of calories, but I think I ate those back. Yeah, and
food
the
out
wine
there is
probably didn't help.
yeah,
either.
yeah.
So, but definitely a good time. So next stop for us, we end up going to from Rome to Assisi, and that's like a really cool town. It's this hilly area that we end up climbing up to. Kind of the top of the mountain, and then have lunch and kind of beautiful area to see. Next day we end up traveling to Siena, which is like this old medieval town that has kind of walled in, and apparently during the Black Plague there were it used to be on the route from Rome to Florence. Travelers would use that as like kind of like a stopping ground to kind of re-up their supplies or sell some supplies and what have you, a midpoint, so to speak.
So like a pit stop city.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, but when Black Plague hit, that kind of stopped the growth of that area.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing had changed from an architectural standpoint. They still have the wall around the city, but probably my favorite place of anywhere we went. I mean, just like walked the entire time there, but felt like you could get from one end to the other relatively quickly from one side of the city to the other side. There also was this massive Ferrari event that was taking place. So you had like all these old Ferraris that were in there, brand new Ferraris, and they're doing some sort of race. I'm not really sure exactly what the race was. I mean, they had flags for everybody that was on the outside, but it was all like kind of caged in area. And
maybe was it like F1? Was it like Formula One racing?
No, so F1 was actually in Florence, but in Venice.
Okay.
I'll jump to that in a few moments, but this one was some sort of race that was older cars and just kind of like high-end vintage vehicles or really new expensive Ferraris. So
sounds fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. So the whole area where kind of the townspeople will hang out, and what's really cool about Siena is they have these like boroughs within the city where they compete against one another. So it may be like a tug of war games or field races or something like that.
Yeah.
They're just kind of doing those things. So anyways, in this big squares where all the Ferraris pull in, and there's hundreds, maybe 1,000 of them, right?
Jeez.
And it's all like fenced off, and they have security guards everywhere. Well, I'm watching these two security guards, and it's where the vehicles are leaving.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them, and they're kind of shooting the poo with one another, and I'm like, I'm gonna go out on the field, and I'm standing with a couple other parents, that are on the trip, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go out there." Like, I just got to shoot my shot, and I got to figure out when to go.
Yeah.
So another group comes up to them, and to these security people, another security guard comes over. So now there's three.
Yeah.
Odds are getting less and less.
Yeah.
But they're talking with this other group that's trying to get through, and I'm like, I'm going right now. And I just walk right past it, didn't say anything, didn't look at anybody. And I walked right down. I'm looking at all these cars, shaking hands, patting people on the backs, just saying to them like, wow, just glad that you're here. Just really, really happy to see you guys. And they're looking at me like, who the heck is this guy?
Where does this guy come from? Yeah.
I walk off.
Where's his media pass
Yeah,
at?
right. I didn't have anything. It's so hilarious. I walk off, and some of the students were like, wait a minute, were you just down there? I said, I was. Well, how did you get down there? I said, I walked. And they're like, let's all go. I'm like, whoa.
It's not going to work.
You can't go as a group. You got to go as an individual, and you got to know when to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
So, needless to say that was a pretty cool event on that. So, leave Siena, end up going to Florence as our next stop, and that's another 3-night destination. Go to see Statue of David. Absolutely incredible. I mean,
What's the Statue of David? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so that's Michelangelo created that out of marble.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know what
and
you're
he's
talking
like,
about. I know what you're talking. I didn't know that was the name of it.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
So probably one of the most notable. Yeah, exactly. So
very famous sculpture.
During that trip, I feel like we had been to almost every church in Italy and every church in Greece, and every museum in Italy and every museum in Greece. And finally, I'm like, I'm done museums. I kind of wanted to see some architecture for a little while.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, I said, let's go to Pisa tomorrow. So she's like, absolutely. Another family hears this, and they're like, we're in. I'm like, all right, cool. So we hop on a train, take the train over to Pisa, and do the obligatory. I'm holding the leaning tower up or whatever. We did a couple of those photos, got some food there, and then hopped the train and came back. Great time. And then on our train ride back, we said Venice would be a really fun trip. And my friend, she's
Sicily on this trip.
No, unfortunately. Yeah, that's too far down. Yeah. So she's like, we're in on Venice. Are we going?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I like it. So I get on my phone, look and see how the train rides go.
Yeah.
We hop on this like bullet train, does like 330 kilometers an hour, so it's crazy fast. So go out to Venice the next day, come back, just awesome opportunity of being able to see 2 other cities that weren't really on our docket to do that. But
it's always fun when you make those spur of the moment plans.
Yeah,
they're always the best ones.
Yep, exactly. And what's funny, so we buy all these goods for some friends and family, and in Venice, throw it in a bag, and I put it up on top of the storage. Yeah. And we get off the train, leave the train station, cross the first street, cross the second street, and I turn around and I look at Amber. I'm like, I forgot all of our stuff. And she's like,
train?
On the train.
Oh my gosh.
So I sprint. I have a backpack. I sprint fast as I can go.
So the ankle's good then.
Yeah, that's right. Ankle's back. Yeah. So we'll probably talk about that injury in another podcast. But get back to the train. No security stopped me at all. I just kind of ran through.
Right. Yeah.
And I get to the train. I touch the train, and it starts moving to take off. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So I go in and I talk to the people at the train station. I was like, hey, listen, I left some stuff on there. She's like, well, it's going to Rome. It'll be back here about 9:30. So I said, all right.
So what'd you do?
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Hopefully it's there. So come back. We go to dinner. Come back at like 9:15 or so that we were there for when it gets off. Lady's like, yeah, they found your bag. However, the train's delayed 15 minutes. Okay, cool. We'll wait.
Not bad.
Well, 15 minutes, another 15 minutes. And then we go and we ask again. Yeah, it's 70 minutes. It was delayed. Some issue, but...
Don't you hate public transportation?
It was crazy. So something happened with the tracks and then caused all these delays and issues. So needless to say, I said, all right, I'll be by in the morning. Come pick it up. 6 o'clock in the morning, I get there. They got my bag. They got all the goods. Yeah, they had everything.
I thought you were going to say it delayed again.
No, yeah, delayed again. Yeah, so needless to say, end up having all of the stuff that that we had purchased, and kind of happy camper on that. But right when I picked that up, I meet up with the rest of the crew because we're on our way back to the States, and had a little bit of a delay. As everyone's seen, there's massive delays in European air travel.
Is there a reason for that? Or?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we're running through the airport to try and make it to our connecting flight, and end up making it home. And just be honest with you, probably one of the best trips I've ever taken in my entire life, just based on the experience itself, the history that we saw, time with my daughter right before she goes off to college. And then also, time, building and fostering relationships that we've built over time, and it's just such a blessing to be able to be part of that, and definitely excited for telling that story, because there's a lot of things that happen in there. Even though I talked a lot about it today, but just more like little small stories that made it funny moments or just memorable moments.
Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool because I think that had the trip taken place when it was supposed to, which was last summer, because it's for like the rising seniors or whatnot. Had it taken place then, I don't think it would have had the same impact in regards to the freedom within the trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the kids, they had for that time frame, if it would have been, you know, the rising senior year, they have specific things that they have to do. They have to give speeches. They have to take notes and do all these things.
Okay.
But because everyone was
They were
graduated,
graduated already.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, kind of do what you want to do, but here are some of the things that we're going to
Yeah.
focus on as well. So that was pretty cool. Because
They should probably change it to a post-grad trip.
yeah, well, it's funny we talked about that. It's like, all right, well, where's next? Because you know you hit it off with for
Yeah.
18 days you're with
Yeah.
all these folks and you make great friendships
There's a
during
bond
that
that
time frame.
bond happens. Yep.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. And some of the kids that you've seen, grow from first grade to through their senior year, you just get a different respect for them as well. Just so you know how they are as an individual, how they've grown in their thinking process, and our last episode that we had on the podcast, we talked about time being like that
Time management. Yep.
exactly. And I feel that what a great segue from that episode to now
Yeah.
to be able to talk about that time and that growth that had happened from the last 12 years in as a parent, as a dad, and then as watching these kids grow and just really seeing like who they are as individuals.
Tearing up over
I know,
here.
right? It's funny. I've thought about it over the last, probably week and a half now, and I'm trying to just really unpackage that entire event and that entire trip, and I keep coming back to that podcast that we did about time management and time.
Man.
Yeah,
You got to make time for things like that.
Yep.
Can't just be work.
yeah. So
I think that's one of the biggest things I'm actually learning is like trying to enjoy those moments that you have with people.
right.
A lot of times people are so caught up in, okay, I got to do this next, what comes next, rather than just being in the moment and taking it all in.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because, you're not going to get that moment again. You can try to replicate it, but you're not going to get that exact moment again.
Right.
So take it all in, make the best of it, enjoy the people around you.
Yep. It's funny you say that because I think we often do that when it comes to travel. When we take a vacation, like, oh my gosh, that vacation was fantastic.
Yeah.
We're gonna go there again.
Yeah.
And then you go there again, and it's a good time, but it's not that first
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you're trying to build on the memory that you had the last time as opposed to creating a new one.
Yep. And just enjoying it in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just incredibly thankful for that. The school continued to push through on that.
That's a great school.
Yeah, it was just a fantastic trip, and it's called a grand tour for a reason. You know that it's a
18
grand
days.
tour of what they've learned over the course of from kindergarten through their junior year. This is all the info that you've learned, in all these places, and the importance
you
of
get to actually go see it too.
right, exactly. And I kind of breezed over this, but there was one of the stops that we had was in Corinth, which was probably one of the coolest experiences because that's where Paul preached. And
Where's Corinth?
it's in Greece.
It's in Greece?
Yep.
Okay.
And during that, it was pretty remarkable to just be able to be in that moment of recognizing that that's where a prominent Christian leader,
Historical figure.
right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
I would have felt like that in the arena.
Well, it's funny,
that
and
would
it's
have been the peak moment for me, man. Like just because of that movie.
it's funny you say that. So as we're walking in too, so there's like this. I had mentioned before, you're walking in the tunnel where all the gladiators come in, and I say this, as we're walking, because it's like single file. So many people that are in there, single file. And I said, those who are about to die, we salute you. And like nobody laughed at it. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It went over their heads.
It did. But it was still, just.
They're probably looking at you crazy, like,
Yeah,
what do you
who
mean
is
about
this
to
guy?
die?
And then I have to mention this, multiple times. Like, what were you saying at earlier today in at the Coliseum? I was like, oh, it's a reference to a movie.
Come on, guys. You can't go to Rome and not know.
Right,
Gladiator.
exactly,
Like, what?
exactly. So
do your homework before you go next time.
yep, but definitely a fantastic trip, and I think there's things I learned from that trip that I will really grow from, and then bring that into my life in everyday correspondence with folks. And patience is another thing I learned, because when you're traveling with 35 plus people, you better have patience, because some people are a lot faster, some people are a lot slower.
All day.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
I know what you mean.
When they look around at different areas, some people get excited about one thing and can't stand the other thing.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. I would have probably went off on my own.
Well, I did.
I would have tried.
Quite often. Yeah. So we had this fantastic guide while we were in Greece, and she would just go into phenomenal detail. But some of the things that she went into detail on, I'm like, check it out, see ya.
Yeah.
And I would just bounce, and I would meet up with everyone afterwards, and I would kind of just do my own thing in some areas, in some spots. And I think that what that started to do was start to give that freedom, or the thought of freedom, to other people, because I started seeing them move around and do their own thing. And it wasn't a disrespect to her, because she knew what was going on.
She
like, okay,
understands.
Obviously he doesn't really care about 600 AD pottery.
Yeah.
You don't care about that.
Yeah.
So, but as I said before, what a blessing to be able to go on that trip, and I'm just thankful that we have the opportunity of being able to chat on it here. So.
Definitely. Yeah, you're gonna probably make a lot of people want to go visit Greece and Italy soon.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
I want to now.
Yeah.
I want to go. Italy's been on my bucket list for a while.
Yeah. And I think that should be definitely a destination of anyone that's from the state, anyone anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's boring here in the States. We don't have coliseums. We got Capital One Arena and FedEx Field.
Funny thing is, we're coming back, so we land in Dulles, and on our drive back, we cut through the city. Google Maps has us going through the city, and the first thing we see, as you come off the is Washington Monument. I'm like, it's a little different. It's this is new age stuff here.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This was built. I can tell this was built recently. It's not as old as that Coliseum.
Exactly. So. But once again, definitely love the fact that we have a platform of being able to talk about life experiences, to be able to reflect on some of the things that we do in life, and our as we constantly say on From the Couch, we're trying to generate teaching moments. So if this teaching moment here generates excitement around travel, if it generates excitement about just spending time. Here we go again, back with the time, with one another. I think that we've done a great thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah, guys.
So once again, thank you all for joining us on another episode From the Couch, and looking forward to future efforts and future chats that we'll have. I would love to do a call-in at some point. And maybe we'll do that. I don't know.
I know. Internet permitting.
Yeah, exactly. Internet permitting. But maybe we'll just set up a call into the office for some folks, and if they want to generate questions.
Maybe we should have had just call you in over the phone. I don't know.
That probably would have worked. Yeah.
Just hold it next to the mic, right?
Yeah, just use one of the photos from out in the on the office there, and just set it in the chair.
Oh man.
Yeah. But once again, folks, thank you for joining us. Uche, love being able to chat with you as often as we do, and just blessed to be part of an awesome team, and
always
happy to assist anyone in any questions that they may have. So please keep those coming in. We'll talk about things that excite you as well as things that excite us. To include sports coming up probably next episode.
Next week, yep.
Got some pretty cool info that just found out from the Commanders, and the Eagles fan is probably going to shoot me down on that, but it's
we'll see next week, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, thanks again, guys.